And we're live. What's going on, everyone? It's Talks with Kenny. This is episode 89. 89, guys. Whoa, I'm 11 episodes away from episode 100. I don't think I'm going to do anything special for episode 100. But without further ado, hopefully you like the video on your way in. Really does help me out in the algorithm to put my videos out there. If you found this insightful, please give me some comments. Please give me some likes on this video. I'll need it to push this message forward. Now, today's topic, this is something that I've been plaguing my consciousness this whole week, okay? Competency. I believe we're going through a competency crisis. Competency crisis. Why can't why do you feel like we're going through a competency I can't even say the word competency crisis? Well, as you guys know, I did a video recently today about how House Democrats are coming out here doing these cringe videos for TikTok. And uh, I'm seeing this trend of women losing their jobs because they can't not look for attention on the internet. The NYPD detective under fire for shocking appearance in a viral rap video. This is disgusting. As you see this girl on the right, this lady is a New York detective and she's a video vixen on police by day, video vixen by night. And say what you want. I'm not going to play the rap video. You obviously can see. Would you respect having a police officer who is a borderline stripper at night? Like, let's make this make sense. And this is the competency crisis that I'm worried about. And I've been talking about this for a long time. Like long term, our education system is going to be some of the most important things that we invest in. And this is one of the reasons why I stand behind Trump on his dismantling the Department of Education. Because Democrats will say you should not dismantle the Department of Education because then kids won't learn how to read. But right now, if you look at the stats, majority of kids who go to public school don't know how to read. And if you still don't believe me, I have this shocking story for you guys, right? Purely shocking story. There's a girl that graduated top of her class. She got a scholarship to go to college and she doesn't know how to read or write. And now she's suing her high school. Make that make sense. How does a child gets a scholarship to go to some university and top of her class got she's I forgot her GPA when I read the story. Top of her class, but she doesn't know how to read or write. This is the competency crisis that I'm talking about, right? And you see a lot of these people risking their jobs for TikTok fame and viral moments. Like, what? What is going on in our society? I do not know. I can't put a finger on it. Are we that desperate for validation, approval, fame? People want to be TikTokers, YouTubers instead of actually doing something productive for society. Democrats talking points that Elon Musk is dumb proves they're deranged. Like, any competent person will know that Elon Musk is a smart guy. You don't build multiple billion-dollar companies, mess around, teach yourself rocket science, and then create a company about rocket science and create rockets more efficient than anything the government has ever seen just to get two-bit Democrat women politicians who do choose your fighter videos for attention, calling you dumb and deranged. Like, what is our world coming to? And this is what happens because Thomas Sowell, a guy I like to quote a lot, he warned about this. He warned about this crisis. Sorry, guys. He warned about this crisis. He talks about how teaching kids, school has teach our kids to approach life based on their feelings, not based on merit, not based on skill, not based on ability, but on feelings. And you see it. Choose your fighter, Kenny. Cheeseworks. Welcome to the chat. Like the video on your way in. My fighter is gonna be Elon Musk. I need that intelligence stat. But this is what I'm concerned about with our competency because we have these incompetent people guiding us, right? With these choose your fighter moments, right? Choose your fighter videos, right? And then these same politicians are sitting here calling Elon Musk dumb. Make that make sense. A guy who created an app from scratch in college became the richest man in the world. He's a college. Elon Musk is a college dropout. I hope you guys realize that, right? Y'all do realize that, right? And guess who? AOC, she got her degree in finance, if I remember correctly. And this is another thing I'm worried about the competency crisis as well, is that DI is the biggest kind of concern that I have about this competency crisis, because we all know DI incentivize an environment where you will want to lower the bar to allow people of a certain ethnicity or a certain race to be more prominent in a job field. We all know black people disproportionately fail the MCT, the CAT test, the bar exam, and because black people disproportionately fail these tests, these liberals cry, "Oh my God, it's racism. We need to remove standards." No, you don't need to remove standards. The people themselves need to be better. And this is what I'm talking about. We don't tell people to lower the standards for the NBA or sports or athletics because one kid happens to be very good at the sport compared to another kid. But this is the kind of incentive structure that we have lost in our society. And I'm sorry to keep pointing this out, but I think liberal women are the problem. Today I did a video talking about how you saw it. Pierce Morgan was losing his mind because a liberal woman could not define what a woman was. She based everything on feelings. Oh, it makes me feel bad, right? When kids get red markers on their test, but they have to know they're doing something wrong. To me, it's like, if you don't correct somebody, do you truly love them? Like, I think that's a philosophical question. That's a wisdom question. That's not a brain question. And I think what our society has lacked, and the reason why I believe I'm fearful of this competency crisis, is the fact that we lack wisdom nowadays. Wisdom used to teach you, hey, you got to make sacrifices. Hey, you got to make trade-offs. Hey, you got to delay gratification. That was wisdom. But nowadays, people want instant gratification. You got women out here selling their dignity, not these women, this woman, right? For fame and money. The easiest way for a woman to get fame and money and recognition is sell her sexuality. Look at Kim Kardashian. Look at all these girls who turn 18 and then instantly go to OnlyFans and become millionaires overnight. Our society has fallen because we have lost our wisdom. Wisdom used to teach you, hey, you should value people's self-control. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And we have replaced that wisdom with a feelings-based, chaotic worldview based on someone's self-esteem. Oh, we don't want to make people feel bad about themselves. That creates its own incentive structure. If you have an incentive structure where no one's ever feeling bad about themselves when they're incompetent, when they're not good, when they're in, where I'm from, trash, when you're not good, you're not trash, like you're not respectable. That's an incentive structure of shame. And this is why I say shame needs to come back. Shame is an incentive where you create negative, you create negativity towards things you do not want perpetrated in society. You don't want a woman who has the ability to be a New York detective and then she wants to be in a rap video shaking her ass. Like, you do not want to push this in our society, but we are. And then when flight attendants twerking on plane aisles gets fired from her job because she was on the clock in her uniform shaking her ass, making the company look bad, she wants to pretend she's a victim. No, that's incompetence. And you have to be punished for that. You have to hold yourself to a different standard. And it's insanity to me how people do not want to be held accountable for their actions. And then these same Democrats want to sit here and defend the Department of Education, but look at the results. You have a girl attending college. She has a scholarship to go to college, and she doesn't know how to read or write. What are they teaching them at school? Before the department, I always go with this talking point. Before the Department of Education was created, the United States had the #1 education system in the world. Now, we're 40th place out of all the nations, and we spend the most money in our education just for a girl to attend college who don't know how to read or write. And you wonder why people are scared. This is why people are so sensitive about DEI. Why people don't want DEI anymore. Because we already got this going on, And on top of that, you got liberals, progressives trying to make special privileges and special considerations for people just because they don't have equal outcome. A 19-year-old student attending the University of Connecticut said that she can't read or write despite graduating from Hartford public high school with honors. With honors, guys. What was her curriculum? Political slogans? Transgender studies? The classroom has become a clown show. This is an indictment on public education, and they wonder why people want to homeschool their kids. Closing the Department of Education will hurt kids, say Democrats. The evidence suggests the opposite. The Department of Education promotes pseudoscientific alternatives to science of reading and direct instruction of math. The results, a catastrophic decline in student performance. And the results, a girl graduating high school with honors, with a scholarship to attend college, and she don't know how to read or write. But Democrats are screaming to protect something that does not work for the American people. And this is why people support Donald Trump dismantling the Department of Education. This is ridiculous. Look at Chuck Schumer. Donald Trump and Linda McMahon wants to shut down the Department of Education. This will hurt our kids. This is not hurting our kids right now. In 10 years, we will reap the negative results of these failed people who pretend that they're doing something good. Almost 90% of students in the U.S. attend public school. Imagine that. 90% of kids in our nation goes to a school where there's a possibility they can graduate without learning how to read or write. Is that a good education, America? Should we keep a service that's not providing a good outcome? Because at the end of the day, teachers, the Department of Education, you offer us a service. You know how much money we spend on the Department of Education? Taxpayers pay $800 billion for the Department of Education just so a girl can graduate with honors and she doesn't know how to read or write. Make that make sense. You spending $800 billion for a student to graduate high school that couldn't read or write. But she graduated with honors, and you wonder why people complain about grade inflation. They're not teaching anything of seriousness in our education system. And I believe this is why I have a major concern with competency. That's why I push back heavily on DEI, because this stuff will only further exacerbate the problem. And then when people start discriminating against black doctors, women doctors, because they're flooding these fields, they're coming to college. These kids graduate college and you don't know what they're learning, right? They argue with you that, oh, a fetus isn't human. Like they'll make some of the most ignorant statements. College people, right? I'm gonna use an example: abortion. Abortion is a prime example of this, right? This is a college girl. She's going to college. She knows all the political slogans. She knows all the BS, but she don't have the intellectual skill or the ability to properly articulate or communicate how she sees the world. And then when she gets pushed back or when she gets confronted, she don't know how to deal with it. This is what happens when you raise kids in a culture of self-esteem and not self-control. Self-control will tell you, understand the person's point of view, present yourself as clearly as you can, and make your case. Because you can't control other people, but you can control what you say. But self-esteem says, no, people need to appease me. People need to revolve around how I feel about myself. And this is what's leading us to this plague that we're all going to suffer from. When planes start flying off the ground, like, this honestly scares me. This is why this should motivate you to stay healthy. This should motivate you to stay curious, to stay aware, to push for higher standards. We need meritocracy. This is why we need meritocracy. For the short term, we spare people's feelings, but in the long term, we suffer for it. That's wisdom. Wisdom teaches you that. It may not feel good, but it's necessary. Wisdom teaches people to be practical, and we're not being practical in this day and age. And I see why history tends to repeat itself. But I digress. I want to play this clip to highlight my point about the competency crisis, and then we'll move on to some of Trump news and his effects on tariffs. Let's take a look at this clip.
It's really fucking laughable that it's only white people equating slavery to owning an abortion. Not once have I heard one black or woman of color.
Faith, do you want to come up here? Because apparently color matters.
I would like to hear from a woman of color, why
Sure,
that
Faith,
isn't racist.
come on up here.
Imagine someone said, I only want to hear a white person's opinion because I believe black people don't have a good opinion on these things. Like, look at the racism she's pushing. This is a college campus. This is supposed to be where we entrust our minds of our kids to be prepared for the world. And in reality, all they're prepared to be is billboards for political messaging.
I'd rather hear that.
Go ahead, Faith.
What's so funny?
Why are you pro-life, Faith?
Yes, thank you.
I am pro-life because life begins in the womb at conception. And I think that our personhood, our rights should not be based on having to be human plus something else.
That sounds a reasonable argument. How does the liberal woman confronts this reality?
That's exactly what happened with slavery, where we were told that you have to be human plus not black. And now we're saying that you have to be human plus a certain age, or human and in a different location. And so really what abortion is age-based discrimination.
Black people weren't seen as humans. They weren't seen as human beings. Black people were not seen as humans. They were like
The Supreme Court.
No clarification, no pushback, no iteration. Just walk off. Just walk away. You get confronted with someone that breaks your whole perception, your whole reality, and you got nothing. Because this is probably the first time in her life that her ideas, her thoughts, her opinions have ever been scrutinized. And she crumbled. This is fragility. You can't have a strong country with people like this running around, deciding and weighing in on policy, when all they care about is being emotionally appeased. This is the competency crisis that we could very well face. Because the scary part is, imagine someone like that in power. You can't take criticism, can't take pushback, can't take someone having an alternative view on things than you. This is how you get a dictator. This is how you get a tyrant.
Court actually said that they were 3/5 a human person. Just like how you all have denied that a child in the womb is a human person.
no, it's not. It's not human.
That's fundamentally incorrect. What is it? What is a child in the womb? Is it a koala bear? When I get
Look at no logic, no information. Look, this is the end of the day. Whether you pro-life, pro-abortion, I don't give a damn what you think. But the fact that these women cannot articulate, oh, it's not a human. Why you say that? Because I feel like it. That's what it is. It's all based on feelings. And we have ruined our education running it based on people's feelings. And I think the time for feelings is done. It's time to return to logic. It's time to return to rationale. How is it rational to maintain spending $800 billion just to have a girl graduate top of her class, go to college, and she can't read or write? And now she's suing her school district. But Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to maintain the status quo. Democrats are fighting tooth and nail to continue having taxpayer money spent $800 billion on the Department of Education just to produce kids that can't read, can't write, can't think, can't articulate themselves, can't think critically. Look at the outcomes. And what? Just so these people can go on and be political activists? Political activism has ruined our education system, and I think it's mostly because of the fact that education is dominated by women, and they tend to let their feelings take over. They tend to be susceptible to this emotional manipulation, to this self-esteem message, to social emotional learning. All these trends and fads, they need to be completely rooted out of the education system, because that's really what's hurting us. But I digress.
And then this idea.
I digress. I think I gave my full and complete thoughts on this matter. Right? So now, moving on to the next thing, we're going to talk about the economy with Donald Trump and his tariffs. right? Donald Trump had made news recently. Trump says reciprocal tariffs on Canadian dairy lumber could be in place as soon as today if rates don't drop. And I want to push back on this narrative. Many leftists, liberals coming out trying to say that inflation is inflationary. They try to make all these claims about this stuff. And liberals, just because you feel like tariffs are inflationary doesn't make it inflationary. I'm gonna show you a clip where Janet Yellen, Joe Biden's Treasury Secretary, actually said that tariffs wasn't inflationary. And I don't know where liberals get this idea of this narrative that somehow tariffs are automatically inflationary, but I digress. Let's dig into it.
And then this idea of the tariffs.
Yeah, I also want to remind the viewers and yourself that it was Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen that reaffirmed that tariffs don't, in fact, actually inflate the American economy in defense of tariffs that Joe Biden at the time wanted to in place. And I also want to point out a few contradictory statements saying, well, Trump is, giving us whiplash on his tariff policies. But on the other hand, I view that as coming into something and not wanting to settle on an imperfect deal. So the reason, they're calling it, what is he, walking back on it? I'll call it a suspension in the meantime, a little bit of a delay. Because he, in fact, is doing this because he wants to protect the farmers and he wants to protect the auto manufacturing employees and give them some time. Like you said, they can't do it in a month. You can't possibly make 350,000 American jobs in 1 month. So if you delay it, you have the possibility of bringing the work back to the states, which is exactly what he wants to implement. Now, you asked, well, is he not looking at the markets? I think he's made it quite clear that his goal is to stop the fentanyl crisis. And I don't think you can put a price on.
Yeah, people. I think the Americans will understand small pain for national security, but even then, some of the results are already fuming with Donald Trump's first job reports, and it came back pretty good, right? But before I want to highlight this, I want to highlight something else. Give me 1 second about Trump's results here. You guys got 1 second. Just give me one moment here. So Democrats are out here bragging day and night about the jobs that Joe Biden created, the U.S. economy, and Donald Trump has added over 100,000 jobs. No, sorry. I misspoke. So here it is. Here's the squawk box. I forgot what they're called. But here they are talking about like tariffs, inflation, and it's a signal that Wall Street, the stock market, the average American is not falling for the liberal fear mongering. I like to call them the fear hustlers. No one's falling for the Democrats' fear hustling about the economy, about Trump's tariffs, because we all coming in already know that, hey, we're gonna get a little bit of pain, but for long-term gain. And I think that's the play many Americans are counting on. Let's take a look.
Tariffs are not inflationary. I don't understand why everybody thinks that's the case. If the money stock is unchanged, then tariffs by definition cannot be inflationary. Inflation is always and everywhere a monetary phenomenon, and I caveat it by we add the word credit. Tariffs are...
So here's the job reports. For Joe Biden, government jobs accounted for 31% of his job growth. Last month, it was only 3%. This is Donald Trump's economy now. 97% of Donald Trump's job growth was from the private sector jobs. And to me, I always found it weird that for job numbers, you count government jobs. To me, government jobs should not count towards the job numbers because I believe the government can fudge the numbers, which we knew which we knew Joe Biden was doing. President Trump's first job reports of his 47th administration, foreign-born workers lost 87,000 jobs. Native-born workers gained 284,000 jobs. America first in action. And I think this is what many Americans were counting on and actually what many Americans wanted. We wanted an economy that worked for the citizens. We wanted an economy that prioritized the needs of its citizens and not immigrant foreign-born workers. Foreign-born workers lost jobs. We gained jobs. That's a net win because at the end of the day, who votes? The native-born worker or the foreign-born worker? The native-born worker. So it works in America's favor. So this is a net good. Now, Democrats try to push out this narrative. Oh, Donald Trump is losing jobs. Donald Trump is doing this. Donald Trump is that. Well, here's a clip from CNN. Here's a segment from CNN which would debunk all those liberal fear-mongering narratives. Let's take a look.
The bottom line is that the Biden administration created a lot of jobs, and they tended to be government jobs. About 25% of the job creation was government jobs, and we actually, as President Trump intended, reduced government jobs by about 10,000, as you guys just mentioned. And then the other thing we're trying to do is increase manufacturing jobs. And manufacturing jobs, which you didn't mention, were up about 10,000, with about 9,000 of those being new jobs for auto workers, which, as you know, are very sticky and high-paying jobs. And so I think it's a fantastic report. It's showing exactly what President Trump intends to do. He intends to reduce government spending, to get rid of wasteful government jobs, and to create manufacturing jobs. And that's what you see. Finally, there were a bunch of signs that the flu was going to have a big impact on this job report, and that's what I think the travel and leisure thing that you guys just mentioned.
I'm tired of this. You see the psyop? U.S. economy added 151,000 jobs in February, fewer than expected. Okay. All right. Okay. But the type of jobs that were added, and this is the kind of thing that I always find frustrating. Democrats will brag about, oh, we created so much jobs, but 31% of those jobs you could have just created out of thin air. During Joe Biden's economy, there was a concept going on called ghost jobs. Many Americans felt like a lot of these jobs weren't real jobs. And then during earlier 2025, they had to revise some of the job numbers from Joe Biden's economy, finding out that, hey, we overstated certain jobs, aka they lied. Remember during the election, 818,000 jobs were overstated, aka they added 818,000 jobs that didn't exist to Joe Biden's economy, fudging the numbers. And Donald Trump increased foreign-born workers' jobs. The private sector jobs, 97% of Donald Trump's job growth was in the private sector while he's cutting government jobs. That's a net win for the American people, which is what we wanted. America first.
Mention came from is that people were homesick and they weren't going out and going to hotels and so on. And so I expect that that's going to reverse in the next month. And it's another reason why I was positively surprised about this. The people who account for flu in the jobs data were saying this number was going to be maybe even about 100,000 lower than what we saw.
CNN didn't want to hear that. I got more, right? Democrats, they're like, oh, the Republicans ain't doing nothing. Give us time. Give Donald Trump time. It took Biden not even 8 years. It took Biden 1 year to ruin the country. I'm just going to be honest. Give Donald Trump at least a year. It's baffling to me. And then these same people, when you're trying to cut waste, fraud, and abuse and all this stuff, right? Because CNN made a lot of bad choices, but they made a good one. I got some news here, some breaking news. My favorite political pundit, Scott Jennings, is due to get a big raise as part of a new deal with CNN. And he deserves it. Scott Jennings and Sir Michael Singleton is the only two reasons I watch CNN. I'm telling you this right now, straight up. Every bloody cent they're going to pay Scott Jennings, he earned it. Because he literally made CNN relevant just by himself. I'm at the point that if I don't see Scott, I'm tuning out. So Scott Jennings, congratulations to you. But after that good decision, they made some bad decisions. So here, I did a story on it already, but CNN's Van Jones said it's not real that we spent $8 million on transgender mice. CNN themselves was forced to issue a correction that it is, in fact, true. It's so crazy, CNN thinks Trump made it up. And this is some of the reasons why I think many Americans, the Democrats are trying to put out a narrative to get many Americans to be fearful of Donald Trump's economy. This is why they fearmonger about inflation, because it all started from CNN and these liberal pundits who don't know anything. Yet they're the most snooty. They're the most condescending people you ever met in your life. During the last 2 years of Biden administration, the government was responsible for creating 1 in 4 jobs. In the first full month of Trump's administration, 93% of job creations came from the private sector. President Trump is shrinking government jobs and growing America. This is what we want. We want more net taxpayers. Government pay taxes, but think about it. Tax money is used to pay their salary. Make it make sense. And I want you guys to hear some clips from Scott Bessent, who is Trump's Treasury Secretary, about how a lot of businesses, the stock market always react violently when Donald Trump issues his tariffs. And I'm about to do some reactions about, Justin Trudeau crying over Donald Trump ripping him a new one over the tariffs. But I want to set expectations that, the government's supposed to be a referee. The government's not supposed to be out here bailing you out, giving you government money. And I think Scott Benson makes a good point here in his 42-second clip.
Top 10% of Americans are 40 or 50% of consumption. And that is an unstable equilibrium. The bottom 50% of working Americans have gotten killed. We are trying to address that. We're trying to get rates down. And could we be seeing that this economy that we inherited starting to roll a bit? Sure. And look, there's going to be a natural adjustment as we move away from public spending to private spending. The market and the economy have just become hooked. We've become addicted to this government spending, and there's going to be a detox period.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened to us. And that's what caused Biden's highest inflation rate in 40 years. He was spending a lot of government money. He broke $1 trillion, I think, his first bill. Joe Biden. And y'all surprised inflation happened? Inflation is the invisible tax you pay for government benefits. Libertarians been saying this for years. Milton Friedman used to say this for years. Right? There's another narrative that's getting debunked by Trump's tariffs, Trump's deportation, mass deportation, Trump cutting government jobs, right? Unemployment, the state of the economy. And I already knew this because Florida did this already. Florida had a deported large swath of illegal immigrants out of Florida, and and the Florida's GDP grew 3%. Liberals were saying if you mass deport illegals, you'll wreck the economy. That was proven to be a lie. Let's see what Donald Trump's reaction to the effects of his first month in office.
I think that the three things that you emphasized during the campaign is that you wanted to create domestic, high-paying manufacturing jobs, that you wanted to end wasteful government spending and reduce the unproductive government workers, and in fact unleash them into the private economy where they could be more productive, and to create jobs for Americans. A lot of people said that if you deported illegals, the employment would go down because no Americans would take those jobs. And if you look, 280,000 American-born folks were hired, manufacturing jobs are going up, and this is just out of the expectation of your future policies, really, sir. It's in April when your Reciprocal Trade Act is expected to happen. The tax cuts haven't passed yet. And so people are clearly expecting the golden age. And if you want to forecast the future numbers, everybody, just keep in mind that President Trump has already gotten us $1.7 trillion in commitments of new factories. And those haven't even happened yet. Those aren't even in the numbers.
Bring in new investment, right? And look, he's doing all this without spending government money. That's the thing. Joe Biden was out here just spending money for what result? For what result? Just to give us the highest inflation rate in 40 years? I think I need to hammer this point home. Americans need to understand that if the government spend money, especially if it prints more money than it actually brings into the government, that will cause inflation. We can't have it all. We need a balanced budget. But right now, Trump needs to push his agenda to set us up for a long-term success. Globalists won't like this because this brings back jobs to America. President Trump's America First economic policies reclaimed our industrial strength from years of neglect. And then what the Democrats have shown over the years is a lack of common sense. These people, they defend things that don't work. You're doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you're expecting a different result. You're mad that Donald Trump wants to prioritize the American people while Democrats are out here being the party of globalism. And I told you this already, and this has been my main thesis of the political landscape. Republicans are more in line with Americans, and Democrats are more inclined with globalists, global citizens, people who are not loyal to a country. Because they rather spend $150 billion on illegals staying in the country, $800 billion on the Department of Education, which oversees curriculums which allow a girl to graduate high school, top of her class, and she can't read or write. They'll defend these things. You come out and say, yo, waste, fraud, and abuse. This is fraud. Department of Education is fraud. Kids won't know how to read. Donald Trump don't want kids to learn how to read if you dismantle the Department of Education, but kids don't know how to read or write right now. How are you going to make it better? How are you going to make any adjustments, Democrats? No. They just want to defend the spending. And it breeds into this idea that, yo, you guys are benefiting it in the background. You're probably getting kickbacks from all these teacher unions and all these nonprofits for education, all these pseudoscientific educational, academical crap like social emotional learning. I don't believe in social emotional learning. I think that's a ball of malarkey. And this is what happens when you facilitate a culture of self-esteem versus self-control.
If your property was damaged by Hurricane Milton,
hold on.
Like over the last few weeks,
hold on.
The longer you wait, the harder it is to get all the money your insurance company may owe you.
Sorry, I got to add. That's what I get. That's what I get for going on CNN. But without further ado, I want to put out this clip. Scott Jennings. This is why they pay Scott Jennings the big bucks, right? He's gonna just lay out common sense ideas, common sense things that American people can actually understand, and not like these snooty liberals who think they know everything and they give you nothing but like trash as results.
There's been numerous instances of Democrats breaking out into song, and all I've been able to discern is that when Democrats are singing, Republicans are winning. I mean, it was a bipartisan resolution that passed today. Some people in your party voted to censure Representative Green. You said something earlier that really piqued my interest, which was you said the Democrats should not be listening to John Fetterman. I think he's maybe your most authentic voice. Who's a better representative, Green or Fetterman for the Democratic Party?
And I'm not, okay, I'm actually, but on that point, Fetterman is a senator from a very critical state. I mean, why not listen to John Fetterman?
Because I think John Fetterman is doing what is popular at the time. I'm not necessarily sure that John Fetterman is being driven by what is best for his districts or his.
Let's think of this in a political sense. Isn't being popular good in politics? So you want an excuse to stay far left. You want an excuse to stay the same, huh? This is what happens when you're a party ran by egomaniacs. This is what happens when you're run by a party hostage to the whims of an emotional populace, which is the white liberal woman. I'm sorry. Don't mean to make it racial. It's just an observation that I've been observing lately. Is that these people, these Democratic voters, a lot of them, like I'll say 80% of Democratic voters, they just want emotional appeasement. That's all they want. And they're more likely to be these kind of people like my way or the highway kind of people. Jess Leon says that her face is so disingenuous. Imagine John Fetterman is a senator from a swing state that Kamala Harris needed to win the election, and she lost that election, and you don't want to listen to him? Sounds like you don't want to hear criticism. It sounds like you don't want to hear productive criticism. Because at the end of the day, criticism is a gift. You can take it or you can leave it. And it sounds like she wants the Democrats to leave it. Okay, stay the same then. That's the peak form of insanity. Doing the same damn thing every single time and expecting a different result. This is why the Democratic Party is a party of insanity. Pierce Morgan asks a liberal lady, hey, what is a woman? It's whoever you feel like. Huh? Face, hand in face. Moment of silence for Pierce Morgan's mind. But they think it's okay. Because that's what makes them feel good. And you wonder why this stuff should be studied. Over 50% of liberal women under the age of 30 have mental health issues. So Democratic Party, that's your brand? Democratic Party is the party of people with mental health issues. I think that's the most accurate statement I said in a little bit. Tell me I'm lying, Democrat. Tell me I'm lying. Did I lie? Democrats are the party of the mentally, crazies? The most mentally unhealthy people in the world? Democratic Party. Democratic Party are the party of the people who need mental health, people who might need to be in an insane asylum. Imagine trying to appease, your whole political career is tingent on satisfying mentally ill people. I wouldn't want to be a Democrat.
Or his constituents. What I was trying to say is that I don't actually think that there should be a politician that should be driving the messaging. I think that If Democrats are smart, they'd be putting ads of people who've been impacted all across the country. The reality is Democrats have 2 years before we have a 20-person primary, and people can make their case for running for president all they want in 2 years. But for the next 2 years, we need to be telling the story of the people.
Yes, if Fetterman wants to run, let him run.
He
That's
can
because
run.
we're the Big Ten party.
Right now, we shouldn't be.
You said we shouldn't be listening to him.
Well, I personally do not think that we should be listening to him, but I also don't think that people.
It's common sense, right? First, he said no one should be listening to him. Then he says, okay, then he shouldn't run either. Oh, no, he can run. Oh, but if he could run and you think he has a good chance of running, why don't you listen to him? Crickets. This is the Democratic Party. Democrats in 2024, we killed 100 million chickens to stop bird flu. Democrats a year later, why did Trump make eggs so expensive? Blame our policies. Look at that. August 8th, 2024. Yo, I swear, bro. It's just craziness, right? And you heard it here first. Like Democrats, these are people who trying to protect their egos. They don't want to hear it. They just think it was a bad day. They just think that the American people were misguided. Imagine Kamala Harris is still a front runner for the 2028 election. Hell, there's reports that she's considering running for California as governor. This Kamala Harris, if we lived in a true meritocracy, Kamala Harris, if we lived in a rational, critically thinking country, universally, no matter your political party, no matter your political sign, Kamala Harris' political career will be over. You're the first Democrat in 20 years to lose the popular vote. You lost every swing state. And on top of that, you rose $1.2 billion. And you spent all that money to the point where you put yourself $20 million in debt and you still lost the election. And you're still a front runner for elected office as either California's governor or the Democratic the primary. You're the head primary candidate for 2028 for the Democratic Party. I'm telling you, when I say the Democratic Party are the party of insanity, they're not only insane because they believe men can mollywop women. They're not only insane for the fact of their crazy policies and the fact that they lost the popular vote and the electoral college and they don't want to change. They're not insane because they think that the American people are racist and sexist and that's the reason why Kamala Harris lost. This is an insane party to the point that Stephen A. Smith has to call them out. Here, let's listen to his clip.
Did you see me on The View Tuesday afternoon? Did you see when they said, we don't believe there's a Trump mandate? I said, oh, really? Did you see the former press secretary?
I'm telling you, Democrats, like, if you had to see the avatar of the Democratic voter, to me, it's a white liberal woman. It's a white liberal woman. And their messaging is catered solely to her. Oh, look how progressive we are. Look how diverse we all are. Oh, look, we got the black woman. We got the Asian woman. We got that black man right there. Oh, and he's gay, by the way. Oh, joy. And then when James Carwell come out here and said, Democrats' messaging is too feminine. Y'all preachy HR jargon word. I'm like, hey, that man onto something. And how did all the Democratic voters in the room react? Oh my God, it's so misogynist, it's so toxic. Loses the election. Women left him, men left him, African Americans moved more towards Trump. 85% of the country shifted to the right. Donald Trump doesn't have a mandate. I'm telling you, an emotional party ran by emotional people. And they double down, triple down, quadruple down on their nonsense. From disrupting Donald Trump's speech. Majority of Americans didn't like that fact that they did that. Then you held the guy accountable. They mad about that too. The Democrats are lost. But they're out here trying to project the narrative that, oh, look, Republicans are running. Running from who? Not you. You mad we putting tariffs on your boy Justin Trudeau because he's trying to rip us off? He trying to virtue signal in front of his people. knowing damn well that he's relying on us more than we're relying on him. He talked about how, oh, look, the tariffs is going to hurt the American people. Yeah, but it's going to hurt Canadians more. But you want to show off. Okay. You ripping us off. Okay. You a partner, but a partner doesn't rip off their friend, huh? So we're supposed to take the abuse. And I don't understand this is what I don't understand about the European Union. But Trump don't have a mandate. People are tired. Americans are tired. And Democrats don't speak for Americans. They only speak for themselves, their constituency, because all they care about is power and control. They just want to be in control of stuff. They don't care if they're giving the American people good outcomes. Look at the Department of Education. Nobody and their mama can defend the Department of Education. How can you defend an institution that's give you worse results before it was created? Make it make sense. America was the #1 education system in the world before the Department of Education was created. After the Department of Education was created, our education system, the quality of our education started going like this to where it is today, where we spend the most money on education, but we're dead effing last. Make that make sense, Democrats, but you're defending it. Oh, Donald Trump wants to dismantle the Department of Education. Of course we should. Look at the results. Donald Trump, all he got to tell you is, hey, look, we spend the most money and we got the worst education. Cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it. But Democrats don't want it. Why? Because they're scammers. In the background, they're getting kickbacks from DEI programs, teaching revisionist history, teaching political crap to our kids. Then our kids graduate from their politically corrupt and activist high school, don't know how to read or write, but they know all they know all the political slogans. They know a lot about activism. Democrats literally, when I do any kind of research and I deep dive and I look at all the woes that our country is going through, I find out it's always incentivized by some Democratic nonsense from the Democratic Party. Democrats are the cause of the competency crisis that we will face in the coming years. Kids don't know how to do this. Kids don't know how to do that. Kids don't know how to read or write. And then when someone comes along like Donald Trump, hey, let's dismantle the Department of Education because they don't know. They're teaching, they're using taxpayer money to push a lot of political nonsense. Democrats scream and squeal talking about how kids don't know how to read, but kids don't know how to read right now. You're defending a system that's not doing its job in the first place. Make that make sense. You're telling me to pay for a service that's not even providing what it promised. But Donald Trump doesn't have a mandate. Okay.
Secretary for the White House, come on. I think Stephen A. is wrong. I don't believe what he said is correct. Donald Trump has the lowest approval ratings in the first month or so, or the 2 months of a presidency in American history. Oh, really? But didn't he win all the swing states? Didn't his popularity elevate within 89% of the counties in the United States of America? Didn't his popularity elevate within the black community, the Hispanic community, and the young voters?
Everybody.
Didn't he win the popular vote for the first time in 20 years as a Republican nominee? Didn't he also win the Electoral College vote? Isn't he in control of the White House?
Bro, only an emotional person can sit there and say, it's because the voters were racist. That's why he won. That's the only comeback I can hear a Democrat telling me. All this information, all these facts he's giving you. And Democrats still don't get it, huh? Democratic donors don't even want to donate to the Democratic Party because the Democrats don't even want to answer, hey, how you sit here, burn through $1.2 billion, put yourself $20 million in debt and expect us to give you more money? You don't know how to govern. You don't know how to manage. Democrats have exposed themselves thoroughly. Democrats love it. When I was growing up, Democrats love to talk about how Democrats just govern better. They know how to govern better than Republicans. Really? Is that really true? Because every time I look at a Democrat, their city's in debt. Look at New York. New York is my perfect example. New York gets some of the highest taxes in the nation, and they're still at a budget deficit. Make that make sense. Make it make sense. New York will crumble if all the rich people in New York leave. New York is the closest thing to an oligarchy that we got in this country. Don't believe me? Look how the rich live versus how the poor live in New York. But Democrats want to sit here and pretend that they're the party of the working class. Get the F out of my face. Democrats are the party of looking good and not actually doing good. That's what I come away with this video.
Don't the Republicans have the House and the Senate? All of that happened, but there's no Trump mandate. You see the bullshit? Is it bullshit, or is it just that the Democrats are so damn lost that they're actually going to convince themselves they can do the same old and still regain power?
Insanity.
Both in the midterms and in the 2028 election. I'm here to tell you that's not going to happen, because Trump has the power now. And he's manipulating the proceedings. And in case you didn't notice, one of his top boys, Elon Musk, Doge, owns X. Who else was at the inauguration? Jeff Bezos. The man running TikTok. And Lord knows who else. And then you got folks like Candace Owens, who's a Trump supporter, along with various others with their microphones, their cameras, and their audience.
And it's not even that. It's just based on the result. Like, America made a calculated decision, bro. Even on the facts, right? And this is something that the left-wing media, they can't stand. Mediaite finished getting destroyed online. If you want to know background story, Mediaite put out a story saying that Donald Trump Jr. is considering a run for president in 2028, according to sources. Now, if you're new to my channel or you recently joined my channel, I have a synopsis where I believe that these reporters, when they reference anonymous sources, it's fake. It's a fake story, because at the end of the day, there's no way to hold, like, there's no way to cross-reference or double. It's not evidence. Anonymous sources isn't evidence. So these people got caught with their pants hanging down, right? You guys are utterly clowns. Congratulations on getting played. Donald Trump Jr. denied he is considering a run for president in 2028 in a statement to Mediaite. I accurately predicted that my buddy JD would be an instant power player in national GOP politics. So your theory is that I worked my ass off to help him get him the VP nomination because I want to run for president in 2028? Are you effing retarded? I'm actually glad you're printing this BS, though, because at least the rest of the world, at least the rest of the press corps will see how shitty your sources are and how easily you're played by them. Congrats, moron. Famous quote from Donald Trump Jr. Fake news. Here, I'll play the meme for you guys. Here you go. Fake news. Fake. I could be this is the anonymous source. They were talking to themselves. They say, hey, we think let's create some gossip to create a story. Yo, these people are bored, bro. Right? It's like they trying to wish cast things into existence, because the media, and this is why they get called left. This is why they get called out for their liberal bias. We see the game. You're intentionally trying to cause some type of division in Trump's orbit, in Trump's world. Here's another example. The Elon Musk Trump thing. They're continuing this again. Now they're trying to say, oh, there's rumors. They probably got the rumors from some fake anonymous source. There's rumors that Rubio and Elon Musk are not getting around, are not getting along. Is this true, Donald Trump? Trying to create controversy, because on the merits of what Donald Trump is doing, there's nothing a liberal can really say. The liberals, Democrats out here opening with their mouth are rooting against America, and Americans see it. How you want to govern a country you hate so much? This is Democrats. Democrats, make that picture to me. How can you want to govern something that you're actively rooting against? Why do you want to be captain of the team if you actively hate the team? No one's going to put you in any leadership position. And I think Americans are waking up to this. But enough of me talking. I need to give my voice a little break. Let's check out this clip.
Clashes eventually. Free Secretary Rubio and Secretary.
No clash. I was there. You're just a troublemaker. And you're not supposed to be asking that question because we're talking about the World Cup. Elon gets along great with Marco, and they're both doing a fantastic job. There is no clash.
Mr. President, bottom line.
Who are you with? Who are you with?
NBC.
Oh, no wonder. That's enough. NBC.
Elon Musk or Happy Secretary.
Any other questions?
Like, imagine that. It's like so predictable. You really got nothing against this man that you had to create some fake story? Fake story. I swear, bro. Democrats, y'all don't know how to do nothing, bro. And then you wonder why people are walking away from your party. I forgot to mention, here's Justin Trudeau crying because after getting ripped by Donald Trump over the tariffs.
On a personal level, I've made sure that every single day in this office, I put Canadians first, that I have people's backs. And that's why I'm here to tell you all that we got you. Even in the very last days of this government, we will not let Canadians down today and long into the future.
That's nice, but when Americans say it, all of a sudden we're the bad guy. Hey, we're tired of paying NATO. We're tired of being part of NATO. We pay more into NATO than NATO pay. All these other countries pay into NATO, and they're most at risk at getting invaded by Russia. Oh my God, Trump is appeasing Putin. Oh my God, Trump is weak. Because Americans don't want America spending $600 billion into NATO at our expense. We're the least at risk. We're the ones that really give NATO the teeth to prance around and make it the alliance that it is in the world stage. Yet we contribute the most into NATO's defense. Make that make sense. We should be at a discount. We should be in my ideal world in NATO, to make NATO make sense for the United States. You have to pay us to be a part of NATO. I'm trying to get that, because at the end of the day, it's our military that's the one that's protecting all of y'all. Canada was supposed to try to give Ukraine some military aid, and they only had 63 fighter jets. 63. 63. While you got Russia producing what? Thousands of drones a month? A day? But you only got 63 fighter jets, Canada. UK said, we're promising to support you, not Ukraine, the UK, the United Kingdom. We're going to support Ukraine, but we need the backing of the US. Make it make sense. These people can't do nothing on their own. And then when we play the same game, Justin Trudeau, right? Trump is putting Americans first. It's not in America's best interest for Canada to rip us off. Reciprocal tariffs. Here we come.
Make that policy, U.S. policy, that the U.S. wouldn't defend NATO countries that don't pay.
Well, I think it's common sense, right? If they don't pay, I'm not going to defend them. No, I'm not going to defend them. I got into a lot of heat when I said that. You said, oh, he's violating NATO. And, the biggest problem I have with NATO, I really, I know the guys very well. They're friends of mine. But if the United States was in trouble and we called them, we said, we got a problem. France, we got a problem. A couple of others I won't mention. Do you think they're going to come and protect us?
The United States, here's an analogy. The United States is like that well-off uncle who's successful, right? He's always giving money to people, and then he got hit by a car and he was unable to make the money that he used to make. Now he got his bills racking up. Now he's behind on bills, and he asks his family members that he's been giving money to help them with their problems, with their situations, and none of them are in a position to actually help him with his problem. That's the position America finds itself at the world stage. These people, these Europeans, have to make attempts. They're just starting now to try to remilitarize themselves because they spent so long demilitarizing themselves and using it as a way to virtue signal how much better they are than the U.S. Then when ish hit the fan, they want to sit here and cry and grovel at the feet of America and say, oh, please save us. Please protect us. Don't let big bad Russia take us over. Trump is considering energy tariffs on Russia to force Russia to come to the table along with Ukraine. He took intelligence away from Ukraine already. He paused military aid from Ukraine already. He's forcing them to come to the table. Russia, if your ass don't get in this table right now to sign this peace deal, I'm going to hit you where it really hurts, your energy. Because that's where Russia's getting most of its money. Europe is still buying oil from Russia, secondhand, but still they're buying it from Russia. India and China. if you're buying oil from India or China, most likely they got the oil, some of that oil from Russia. And that's how Russia's been financing the war. Now, if you put an energy sanction on that ish, Russia's stuck. That forced Russia to come to the table. Ukraine, we already stopped their military aid. The time for Europeans, like, I know Europe has a tendency to drag the whole world into war. You know, it's kind of what the Europeans are known for. Like, make it make sense. These people who brag about how much, like, how much better they are than Americans, right? And all the world wars started in their continent. Oh, that scared me. All the world wars started in their continent. Make that make sense to me. Make that make sense to me, Europe. You brag about, oh yeah, we're so much better, demilitarization, da 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 da. Our men don't want to fight and die for their country, but we want Americans to fight and die for our country. And American says, enough. Oh, this is why Americans are despised. Come on. Come on. Come on. Like, America first. You thought it was a slogan? Y'all thought we were just saying that to sound pretty? Trump's Trudeau tariff call was heated and included profanity. That's probably why he was crying. Let's listen in on this little segment here.
Swearing back and forth at each other on the phone. Take a look at this.
On a personal level, I've made sure that every single day in this office, I put Canadians first, that I have people's backs. And that's why I'm here to tell you all that we got you. Even in the very last days of this government, we will not let Canadians down today and long into the future. Because in the past few weeks, we've been working with our provincial and territorial partners to make sure that families can rely on this system, not just for years to come, but will allow this system to lock in, to become something that no government, a year from now, 5 years from now, 20 years from now, could ever go back on.
I just don't think Trump and Trudeau like each other. Trump has more tweets tweaking Trudeau about when he's going to go. And fair enough, who can Trump negotiate with right now? I mean, he can't do a deal with Trudeau.
Yeah, Trudeau's on his way out. He can't, like, Trudeau's at this point, he's doing this just for attention, in my view anyway, in my estimation. Maybe you guys disagree, agree. I want to hear your thoughts about this. But honestly, Trudeau doing all this, I don't think is setting up Canada in a good position, right? Especially when you got some of their...
After President Trump's address to
I don't know why these things keep playing. So with... I lost my train of thought because I got distracted by Waters here, Jesse Waters talking. But I honestly don't understand why all these nations could look out for their own best interests. I think I did a video on it, and I think I highlighted that, but I'll reiterate this from the top of my head. Europeans believe that Ukraine should get more aid. But then when these Europeans were asked, oh, should your country give more aid to Ukraine? Most of them, 80% of them all said no. From Sweden to Italy to France, all of them said no. And then when asked, oh, should America give more aid? They said yes. Oh, it's wisdom for a reason. It's always easy for someone to be generous with someone else's money. But you show someone's true character when they're willing to be generous with their own money. And this is what we're calling out the UK, these European unions. They want war so much, you go fight it. Oh, wait. If you fight the war, you ain't got nothing. You can't do nothing. It don't move the needle in any kind of way, in any shape or form. But you need the US, though. And the whole world has been relying on the fact that we had politicians that had put America last. And I think Trump is going to be a consequential president, not just because he's an iconic figure now. He's a historical figure, 2 assassination attempts, right? He's at least at Reagan's level, Ronald Reagan's level. Hell, even more if Trump hit this second term as successfully as he wanted to be. That's the potential that Trump has. He's already a historical figure. To me, Trump is already Ronald Reagan level already. He has a chance to be even greater than that if he plays his card right in this second term. He could be a transformational president. And you can see Democrats trying everything and throwing the kitchen pan at this guy to keep him from doing that. But one good thing about this competency crisis is that it seems like Democrats don't have the intellect or therefore the ability to actually get in his way. right? Amy Coney Barrett voted, judged against him, but that's a setback. That's not going to stop Trump. And I find it hilarious how all these countries, from Canada to Sweden, they all could be like, Sweden first, Canadian first, but America first, all of them complaining. What is this? Oh, we want to take out of NATO because America's getting ripped off because we paid more into NATO, even though we're less at risk for an invasion from Russia. All the European countries crying. They're talking about, we can show the world that we could do this ourselves. Let's show the world that Europe can handle its own affairs. And then the whole crap was just a shit show. All the agreements, you remember the little council meeting they had? And they left the United States out, and the liberal media was making a big hoopla about it. Oh my God, the U.S. has been left out of the European Council. What's his name? Zelensky went to Britain. That was a whole lot of nothing. That was nothing but political theater. That was all for show. All for show. Nothing came about it. Zelensky is at the same spot he started in. Make it make sense. But, I'm about to wrap up, coming to the closing hours. I want to play this video of Democrats being confronted after Trump's speech and ask why they didn't stand for some of the things that he put up. Because I'm honestly telling you, if there's one reason why I believe the American, my people, the American people should not vote Democrat in 2026, we should not give Democrats a quarter, an inch, not even a penny of a vote in 2026, is because they do not care about us. We're cannon fodder for their political game of dominance. That's how Democrats sees the American voter. How can we leverage politics in our favor? How can we rig the game in our favor? That's how Democrats think. And they use emotional appeal, their emotional manipulative party, to try to get people to feel sympathetic and empathetic. They weaponize empathy to get their way. But now, Donald Trump flipped it on them. Their hatred for Trump. And I told you, many people try to warn the Democratic Party, but the Democratic Party, they have a hard time listening. Many people warned them that their blind anti-Trumpism is going to hurt them, and it finally came home to roost. But I digress. Let's take a look at this segment from Waters World.
After President Trump's address to Congress, I decided, let's just keep Johnny here. So I sent him to the Capitol, peacefully and patriotically, of course, and made him talk to Democrats.
Senator, how's it going? Johnny from Fox. What could Donald Trump do that'll make you clap?
Thank you very much.
What could Donald Trump do that'll make you clap?
I did clap when he said that the United States had supported Ukraine and given them lots of
Well, why not for Laken Riley's mom? How was that speech last night? Did you love it?
Well, I watched it. I don't think that was the best look for our party last night.
Very disappointing.
So you didn't stand up for anything?
The president got before the American people, didn't talk about how he could drive down grocery prices.
Senator, why weren't you standing yesterday for anything?
Very important hearing right now on anti-Semitism.
But you didn't stand for anything at the speech last night.
I don't know what you're talking about, where you got that information.
Well, there was nothing the president had to say.
Laken Riley's mom, you didn't stand for her.
Factual or truthful or anything like that.
They think these taxes are gonna work? Like, the American people should not trust these people, bro. Like, look how snooty Adam Schiff was. Oh, he said this. Just wave it off. Oh, give me power, right? The guy who got pardoned. A guy that got a preemptive pardon, talking about lies. The guy that was pushing the Russian hoax. Oh, we got damning evidence on Donald Trump. Adam Schiff calling someone a liar. How rich. Oh, if you need a preemptive pardon, that's an admission of guilt. 4 years later, gets a preemptive pardon from Joe Biden. Has nothing to say now. But we're supposed to get a moral lesson from this guy. I'm tired of you, bro. I'm tired of these politics, bro. I can't even look anymore, bro. I can't even look anymore. Honestly. I'm trying to see. Do I have anything else in my head to talk about? Maybe Chris Cuomo disappointment with the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party is a big ass disappointment. Right? The best thing that can ever happen is if Democrats just dissolves as a party and something else takes its place. I think that would be the best thing that ever happened in political history.
Wasn't Trump's truth abuse. It could have been. But the Democrats gifted him a rare distinction, certainly for this president. High ground. How? How do you give Trump high ground? By Democrats being the worst behaved caucus in that chamber in modern history. Congressman Al Green stood and jeered at the president, shaking a stick at him, which reminded me of a moment in our history that I'll get back to. He got kicked out. He may get censured for his disruptions. Other Democrats heckled the president, held up signs in silent protest saying Musk steals and no king. Many of them were wearing pink, which they declared a power color of resistance. Okay, look.
And then that was supposed to be standing for women, but every Democrat voted against the bill that would have defended women from getting mollywopped by men pretending to be women. This is what I'm talking about. Democrats are the party of looking good and not actually being good. They want to sit around making all these slogans and all this, but then when you ask them, hey, what actions have you done? What results have you given your constituency and the Democrat and the American people? They ain't got nothing. Oh, we spent a bunch of money for these causes. We spent $24 billion on homelessness. Okay, what was the result of that? Homelessness increase? But at least we're managing the problem. No. The trade is I give you power, you give me a good outcome. And people started realizing that this game of pretend that politicians used to play about how moral or ethical or how good they are and oh we're holier than thou, this act that they're doing. Trump came in and he wrecked all that. He was like, nah, it doesn't matter where I came from. It doesn't matter if I was a playboy. It doesn't matter if I slept with a bunch of women. It doesn't matter about none of that. It should only matter, hey, if you give me power, this is what I'm going to do with this power. This is how I'm going to help you. We need to build the wall. Illegal immigration hurts America. Here's how. Donald Trump came out like that, and Americans, it created a whole paradigm shift that we stopped caring about appearances and we started caring more about results. And I think that if you're the type of individual that cares about outcomes, you care about service, like, hey, someone gives me a good service, they deserve a good salary, right? But if someone gives me a bad service, they don't deserve a salary. And we're taking that kind of logic with power, with politicians. For too long, Americans and us as a voting bloc, as a country, we got used to accepting politicians not keeping their promises. We got used to electing people who gave us the workaround. And Donald Trump has an opportunity to forever change that paradigm forever, where we start expecting politicians to, hey, what outcomes are you going to give us? Why should we give you power? Donald Trump said, I'll make America great again. I'm going to instill a golden age. I'm gonna drive manufacturing to create more jobs here in America. America's like, I like that. And it doesn't matter how the media comes out calling him Hitler, Orange Hitler, a fascist. It don't matter. All the name calling they can give Donald Trump. It don't matter. All that matters is what's the result. 93% of the jobs Donald Trump created in the month of February most of them, 93% of them came from the private sector. That's jobs Americans actually want and actually can use to help themselves and their families. And also increase tax revenue because it's coming from outside the government. Hey, we're cutting government. We're trying to find waste, fraud, and abuse so we can give you more benefit to the government. We can make the government more efficient. We're trying to give them the same output with less resources used to give it to you. And with those savings, we're trying to give it back to the American people somehow, pay off the debt to set up the country in a better position. How can you argue against that? No amount of name calling, no amount of virtue signaling from the Democratic Party, no matter of their antics, performative behavior that they displayed during the speech, their fake form of outrage, their fake form of virtue is going to change that. And I think for the first time ever, I think the American people are seeing through the BS. Okay, that's political theater. Oh, you're being fake. Tell me the results. Tell me what he's doing wrong. Oh, you saying he's going to cut Medicare? Where in the bill did it say it was going to cut Medicare? Oh, you're just assuming that. Oh, you want me to buy into your perception. The fear-mongering ain't working the same. The emotional manipulation ain't working the same. And I think Democrats are mad that their usual tactics are not working. And let's be honest, Democrats got comfortable just screaming at the top of your lungs, calling politicians, calling Republicans racist, misogynist, some type of form of name calling. They got so used to demonizing Republicans that now that the tactic is no longer effective, they don't know what to do with themselves anymore. And I literally think we're seeing the early signs of a party that's about to walk into irrelevancy. But I digress. This is my live stream for tonight. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys find it insightful. Let me know some of your biggest concerns, your biggest takeaways from the live stream. Is it the competency crisis that I think we're going into, where you got a girl with honors graduating high school and she doesn't know how to read or write? That says a lot about the future of our country if we do not change the incentive structure in our education system. And I don't know how Democrats can sit here with a straight face and defend the Department of Education. It's baffling to me. But, I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Let me know. Don't forget to like the video on the way out. It really does help my channel. If you want to share this live stream, you can do that as well. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.